Now let's talk about this case that was filed against one Maria Victoria Beltran. I understand she is an artist that's based in Cebu City. What exactly prompted this complaint of yours against this person, Miss Beltran?
Oh, if I recall, sometime last Saturday, there was this item on her page. And of course, it caused an alarm and quite a panic to the many residents, because I think there was a mention of about 9,000 infected individuals. But of course, it's not true. As I mentioned, there are only about 135 people, and 134 are even asymptomatic. But of course, we have to, comply and abide by the law which the president had just signed, which is Republic Act 11469. And if I remember, it is a law which is titled as an act declaring the existence of a national emergency arising from the coronavirus disease. And it's titled, if I correctly, accurately remember, it is entitled the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act. Of course, the law is very clear on Section 6 that it says there, individuals or groups creating, perpetrating, or spreading false information regarding the COVID-19 crisis on social media, because that's social media, because that's on her page, and other platforms, such information having no valid or beneficial effect on the population and are clearly geared to promote chaos, panic, anarchy, fear, or confusion, and those participating in cyber incidents, and so on and so forth. I think that is the gist of the law. So of course, as mayor, I have to comply and I have to act and make a positive action on what the law says. And it's an order, it's a law. Now, if they want to question the law, let them bring the matter to the court, or the question is constitutionality. But for as long as the law is there, we have, by all means, we have to implement it.
Okay,
now,
Mayor, how exactly did that particular post by Ms. Beltran create?
Well, there was like a mention.
How exactly did that create chaos, panic, anarchy, fear, or confusion?
Well, of course, there were so many who texted me and, in fact, went to my office. And so, because by the very nature of the entry on the page, the police acted on it. And I'm sure that the police just did their job. And well, of course, if you want to ask me how was it written, I have here on my cell phone, it says 9,000 plus new cases, all from Zapatira of COVID-19 in Cebu City in one day. We are now the epicenter in the whole. That was how the
okay,
page.
Mayor.
Now,
but I'd like you to respond to this, because according to Ms. Beltran, that post was clearly sarcastic or satirical, because you read that particular post, and the last part is that we are now the epicenter in the whole solar system.
Well, of course, that is her opinion, and let her invoke that at the proper venue. And so far as the city and the police are concerned, that is something that would cause panic. And of course, there is a law which has just been signed by the President, Republic Act 11469, the Bayanihan to Heal Act, and which we have to act. Now, of course, if they want to question that, I advise the police to provide her with, or to make her available, the due process. Let her be assisted by counsel, and that let them question the manner of the arrest, and let them invoke their defense in the proper forum.
But when you saw it, didn't it look sarcastic to you or satirical? Because
Well,
the concern here is that this might actually infringe on, for example, free expression, when in fact you posted something which was intended to be satirical, and those who read it didn't get that particular meaning, and all of a sudden you'll be charged with violating the Bayanihan Act already.
Well, of course, that is a matter of opinion. That in defense will be invoked by her. But insofar as the police is concerned, they found that there is probable cause. So let them question the wisdom. Let them question whether or not there was really probable cause, and let them question the arrest. But I instructed the police to afford him the due process requirement, because that is a constitutional precedent that should be accorded to all citizens of this country.
Because of course, some people might be thinking that since the complaint came straight from you and you are the mayor of that city, the police would have no other choice. So the logical move for them is to actually file a case against this person because the complaint is coming straight from the mayor.
No, I question it, and of course the police acted on it, and let the police do their share.
And of course, a lot of people are concerned regarding the long-term effect of this particular implementation, which is very, very strict. And according to her, of course, she said that was her defense, that it was only satirical or sarcastic. How do you respond to the possible chilling effect of this particular action of yours to others who might be also, let's say, planning in the future to post something about the situation there in Cebu City?
The law is very clear. If it is something that would cause panic, it will cause fear to our citizenry, then of course, by all means, we have to act on it, because it is not true that there are 9,000 positive. As I mentioned earlier, it is only 135, and of the 135, 134 are even asymptomatic.
So where is Mrs. Beltran now? Is she still detained?
Well, of course, as I've told the police, provide her with necessary rudiments of due process. Let her be defended by lawyers, and of course, follow the proper procedure in accordance with the Constitution and in accordance with existing laws.
Do you know her personally?
Well, I've heard of her. I've heard and I have known her. Yes, she has been a friend, and of course, when I read in the news about the name, what I've known of her is her nickname, Bambi. I didn't expect that Maria is the one whom I know as Bambi. I told her, there is nothing personal. We are just implementing the law. There is a mandate, there is a law. Then if you believe that there was a violation on the part of the arresting officers, if they believe that the law is unconstitutional, let them question it in the proper form.
So you had no previous run-in with her, no previous conflict that might have also triggered this particular complaint today? On the contrary,
she is a friend.
Okay.
On the contrary, she is a friend because I know her to be an artist, a good writer. That's what I've known of her. And we've met before, and in fact, we've known each other. I respect her as a person, and so I think there was a point in time that I was at her restaurant, something like that, years ago. I respect her as a person, and there is nothing personal. That's why you can ask her. She was there when I even told the police, provide her with the necessary rudiments of due process. Let her be assisted by counsel and observe the precepts of due process as provided under the Constitution that should be afforded to each and every citizen. But at the same time, yes.
How about the other option? Instead of filing a case against her right away, why didn't you just talk to her, let's say scold her, and tell her to take down that post and perhaps apologize for that error, if indeed that was an error, even if she's saying that that was sarcastic? Why didn't you just talk to her?
The matter is now in the hands of the police, and let the judicial authorities evaluate. And if, as what she said, that there was no violation, so let it be. But we just have to do our job.
I mean,
because there is a law.
And no, I mean, before the case was actually filed, before she was brought in by the police, didn't you think of just talking to her, reaching out to her, and telling her, take that down because that's not true?
Well, of course, but I didn't know that it was Maria. Bambi was the one who is Maria. What I've known was that there was this page on the Facebook. And so when the police called my attention, then I said, okay, look for her, because this is what the law prohibits. Republic Act 11469, as signed by the President. As I've said, Mr. Esguerra, just let her invoke. You know, she is well protected, and is well, I have instructed the police to provide her with to afford her the necessary rudiments or the due process requirement of the Constitution. And if the authorities believe that she is right, so let it be. But what is the role that we have to play is to comply with what is provided under the law that was just signed by the President.
Okay, of course, we understand that the law is very strict and it's already a law. But another big concern here by a lot of people is that this might actually stifle free expression, even in conditions like this. For example, there's a resident, for example, on academic discussion, let's say someone in your jurisdiction, let's say a resident was not happy with the way the city government was responding to the crisis, and let's say decided to express his or her dismay on social media and tried to be sarcastic, even if the concern was legitimate, this particular law would already be used against that person.
Well, of course, whether sarcastic or not, there is that categorical mention in the page. So let it be decided by the proper authorities, by the court of law that interprets our laws. Our role here is only to execute the laws as part of the executive department of government, as signed by the president. And on matter of interpreting whether the law is reasonable, whether the law is constitutional, whether the law is oppressive, that matter belongs to the court to interpret the law.
How do you respond to those who are saying or who fear or who see that somehow you are taking advantage of this particular law to go after that particular person?
We are not taking advantage. We have to be very categorical. The entry is there, the page is there, and let her defend herself in court to tell the court, to tell our authorities that what she was doing is not actually in violation of the Republic Act that was just signed by the president.
Mm. Now, have you also monitored similar posts or other posts
Yes,
online, which might also be the subject of a case?
Yes, there was another guy. In that particular case, it was not about just this law, because at that time, when that information was placed on his page, there was no law yet signed. But I think it was more of a violation of the cyber libel law.
So how much room are you willing to give from your perspective as the city mayor when it comes to people in your jurisdiction expressing something about the way you're handling the crisis?
Well, you know, I am a very understanding person. I am a very reasonable person. But of course, if there is a law that is being which appears to have been violated, and if the police believes that there is probable cause, because I think before the police made arrest, they had their pool of lawyers also, which they consulted whether or not it would be accurate. And the police believes that there is probable cause. Probable cause means that the law has been violated and that the person has probably violated the law. It is not guilt beyond reasonable doubt as mandated by the Constitution. It is only probable cause that would serve as the basis of the laws. And let the matter be fleshed out, passed upon, and dealt into by the proper authorities.
But can residents of Cebu City still post legitimate dissent or gripes or complaint online?
For as long as it does not appear to be violative of the provisions of Republic Act 11469.
Can they still criticize you?
No matter, you know, if you are a public official, you have to do your job. You have to focus on doing your job, to be focused. And of course, just like what the Supreme Court decision had said, that as long as what you believe is right, just be assuaged by a balm of clear conscience. Do not be like just be assuaged by a balm of clear conscience. What you believe is right and what you have done is right.